Welcome to Living Martial Arts with Master Ray Gale, aka the Dark Master. Living Martial Arts discuss and examines the everyday exercise, philosophy, and lifestyle of the martial arts enthusiast. The host talks about his own training, past and present, and he also interviews many martial artists to discover how they continue to live their own martial arts journey. Tune in for top tips on how to get the best out of your martial art. Or perhaps you're thinking of starting a martial art. This podcast offers you an easy way to dip your toe in. Sign up for the newsletter at livingmartialarts.com and get regular updates and training tips direct to your inbox. Follow the Dark Master on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Living Martial Arts.
Hi, and hello to the Living Martial Arts podcast listeners out there. This is me, the Dark Master, coming back with another podcast. I've got Mr. Lee Hollingsworth here, which I haven't seen him for a long time. It's great to catch up with it. So it'll be fantastic to hear your story. How are you doing, Lee?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Good, excellent. Well, thank you for agreeing to come on. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm sure my listeners and my students and some people in the wider audience will enjoy, hearing some things about your story and about your experiences in Taekwondo. So, with no further ado, because I'll sort of crack on. I always start this is to get guests to tell us a little bit about their martial arts journey. I know it's you've been in it, even though you're quite young, well, a lot younger than me. you've been in it a long time. So perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I started Taekwondo when I was 4. Not through choice of my own. My parents sent me along to the local Taekwondo club.
Yeah, sure.
And I just remember falling in love with it straight away, pretty much. They sat me at the back of the room. I think there was an adult class going on at the time, and they were shouting and kiapping, and on the way home, walking back home, I just remember shouting out as well, the same as what they were doing, kicking and punching up and down the road, and couldn't wait to get started. So I've been doing it since the age of 4. I got my black belt when I was 9.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was quite a placid kid, so it done me great favors for confidence,
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
improved my confidence dramatically. And then I took a little break when I was about 12 for a year or 2. I think when I started secondary school, I wanted to try other things, try a bit of football, a bit of cricket. I think I tried it at the time.
Sure.
And then I just woke up one morning and I said to my mum, I want to go back to Taekwondo. I really miss it.
Yeah.
So back I went. I was about 14 at the time, 13, 14.
Sure.
And then we started doing competitions a lot more. And then I started winning quite a few competitions. Broke into the national team at about 16. And then I've just been doing it ever since then, since...
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'll come back to the competitions in a moment, because actually the first time I saw you was in a competition. Strange enough, many moons ago. But it's funny what you said about the shouting or whatever, and you were 4. I think I had the same experience when I was 16 when I went. I came out shouting and jumping over things. Thinking, wow, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
I just remember thinking, wow, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
I was key-upping up the road, and my mum was really telling me, shh, be quiet. People think you're crazy.
Yeah. Well, it is. Well, a couple of things really, because I remember the first time I met you and I saw you. You were saying, and you're actually very quiet then. You were actually quite a.
Well, the thing is, even at school, I don't think anyone knew I was a black belt. I didn't promote what I'd done and how I was doing. I was very very quiet with that. I didn't let anybody know. Because only when people started to hear, they were like, "Oh, you're a black belt. You do this." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. You were very quiet and quite reserved with it, actually, and that's sort of quite interesting, because I think people listen to this sometimes. They get the impression that people are going to be loud and they're going to be whatever. But I think it's the opposite. Certainly.
Yeah.
Even I mean, I just started an apprenticeship at the time, and actually very few people there, apart from a few people who knew me personally, knew that I did martial arts.
Yeah.
And the only time when they did know, I had a big spread in the Rolls-Royce News, because I got picked for a competition in Los Angeles, and Rolls-Royce liked to promote their workers and the athletic sort of things that they were doing, which was quite nice. But just coming back to competitions, then, in fact, I think the first time I saw you, you were in a competition, and you were doing patterns. Actually, I was really impressed with your patterns. And one thing I was gonna ask you, because the good thing about doing this podcast is I've always wanted to ask people different questions for a long time. Was you were very successful in sparring, but did you have a passion for patterns, or is it just something you thought, I'm going to do this?
I remember, as in my early years, patterns was my thing. I wasn't a sparer. I was terrible at sparring. I was quite small for my age and quite weak, and I never used to win the patterns. The sparring. So patterns was my thing. And then when I hit, I think it was 14, 15, I started following Prince Nassim Hamid, his career.
Oh, right.
He was a great inspiration of mine, and I started to copy him and mimic him, and got some confidence from him. And then in my sparring, I started to implement that, and I just started to win more in sparring. It was quite a weird thing how all of a sudden, the click of the finger, and I was a good sparrer.
Well, it wasn't a bad person to follow. I mean, I'm actually wearing my Muhammad Ali, the greatest top, which probably shows my age and the people that I was following at the time, and who inspired me. It was an interesting thing, because I looked and thought, wow, this guy's really, really good at patterns. And I saw you spar. I thought, wow, which at the time was quite unusual. I think going back in the late 70s, early 80s, most Taekwondo people did all disciplines. They did pattern, sparring, destruction. But as time went on, and certainly I think in the 90s and going on from there, I very seldom saw that. I saw somebody who was like a pattern specialist.
I done a lot. I done breaking, special. I like to do everything.
And that was quite unusual for me to see somebody who could do that at that time. It shouldn't be, because you train in all of it.
You train in all of them. That's right. Yeah.
So it should be a normal thing, but it just seems the way, this guy, he's doing everything, which is quite unusual. I mean, I do encourage my students to, they're going to have a go at all, even if they're, one of those things are not their thing. Just have a try. So, I mean, moving on from there, I think you're, obviously we had a sort of a mutual time when we're in the same association. Obviously, I was with Grand Master Nicholls and so on and so on. But where are you now? What's happening now? Are you running a school, and what are you doing?
So my schools at the moment are with ITF Union under Grandmaster Dalton.
Okay,
I left ITF Choi Jung Hwa in 2016. I spent a year or two independent, having a look around, seeing what was what. And then 2019, I made the decision to join the ITF Union.
Well, I have had Master Dalton on the podcast, and obviously he's a good friend of mine, and, which is nice. The good thing about Taekwondo is that you'll have sort of mutual friends that you've sort of worked alongside one thing or another. So how is it going in the ITF Union?
It's as I say, it's a new federation. So it's only been up and running since 2015. And it's growing, really well. Lots of federations joining. They've got their World Championships next month in Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Sure.
Which is actually funny, because it's 20 years ago.
Yes.
This year that I won the World Championships in Argentina. 2002.
I was there. Yes, I was there.
So 20 years later, I'm coach and not student. So that's going to be quite a good feeling, because I've got students there competing as well,
Well, and myself and Master.
I remember you was there. One of the great memories from that was Master Ogborn holding up. Was her name Leanne when she won the
That's right.
Yeah,
When she won the sparring deal, that was a great trip for both of us. We really enjoyed that one because we just sort of recently, sort of a few years before that, had left the TAGB, and we've been sort of like put into the world of ITF, so we were discovering lots of new things, and we discovered the passion of the Argentinians for Taekwondo, and they were very good. And I've often said to some of my students, and perhaps you can, I don't know, give a few words about this, but the atmosphere there was absolutely amazing in that stadium. It was absolutely electric.
Yeah, I was outside the stadium. I was one of the guys that carried the England flag in.
Yeah.
And I remember waiting outside with the rest of the guys who were holding their flags, and the noise inside the stadium was something else. You know, your hairs were standing up.
Yeah.
Back your neck, you know. Very loud, very passionate, the Argentinians. And I've been telling my students about that, you know, to be prepared for all this.
It was amazing. And I actually
and the national anthem. I was sick of the national anthem at the end, though.
Myself and Master Robert, we were sort of almost nervous for everyone because we were sort of stood there thinking, "Wow, these kids are going to be all right." It's really, really
it was hot, stuffy,
intimidating. Drums, they had drums and musical instruments. It was absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I've been to some really, high level football matches in my time, but that certainly matched it.
Yeah,
it really was. Yeah, it really was
so loud.
Oh man, it was just amazing. But what a great experience. I had a few students there who were really, it was their very first high level international.
Yeah,
and I really felt for them. I was their coach at the time, and they didn't do particularly well, but it was a tough one to go into as your first one for experience. But they went on and. They sort of did very well after that, because I think after that everything else was really sort of quite easy, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah.
After that atmosphere. So, regarding that and regarding your sort of competition career, any highlights that you think? Obviously that was a highlight, obviously, but any other things you can mention about your
competing? I remember. In my teens, I used to really like the BTC championships.
Yes.
Because that's where all the clubs got together. There's many different clubs. You had the TAGB there, you had the ITF clubs there. And that was sort of the biggie to win. And I remember winning my first BTC championships as a junior. That was quite a special moment for me. And then I won the seniors on the same day. They let me do both.
Yes.
So that was quite a special day.
I remember that one. I think I competed in. I'm trying to think which one it was, but in the early BTCs, I competed. I remember I fought a really good. It was over 2 rounds. It was one of Master Wolf's students.
Okay.
And in the first round, he was really getting the better of me. I thought I can't outkick this guy. His legs were just awesome. I remember going back, and Dave Oliver was my coach, and he said, "Oh, Gailey, what are you doing? Don't use your legs, use your hands, mate." So I just started to use my hands, and I was all over him.
Get inside the leg.
He didn't know what to do, and I actually won. I actually won it in the end. But it was a fantastic event, and I do agree. It was very well attended, and actually the competition was really strong, wasn't it?
Yeah, for me that was a real British champion winning that. Because it was all of the clubs together. Yes,
it was.
So apart from that, I think Argentina was obviously a special time because I won the World Championships there. I won third degree patterns as a junior. And actually, funny enough, my mum and dad have just moved house, so they emptied their garage, and I thought I had nothing left. I didn't know where I put it all the medals, all the photos, all the memorabilia from before. And I found quite a lot from Argentina: the dobok, the tracksuit, the medal, which was quite good, bringing back the memories.
Yes, definitely. I've got a few bits of clothing from it, but all my medals are probably in landfill now because I moved a few years ago. So do you know what? I've had enough of these.
We found this awful tracksuit from I think it was the 2000 European Championships in Spain. I think it was Grandmaster Sahota that made it from his company.
Okay.
Some red thing. It was horrible. It was like a pajama, you know. It was like red and this horrible material. But I found that the other day. I'll post a picture of it actually on Facebook so people can see what I mean.
That'd be really good. It is good actually going to the competitions. Sometimes you look at what people are wearing, and you think, what were they thinking of?
Yeah. How do we wear that?
So with the competitions, because you know, a lot of the times, you know, on the podcast, I speak to people, you know, if it's like me, you know, my competition career ended in sort of 95 or whatever it was. Yeah. You know, yours is still. Are you still competing, by the way?
No, I stopped 2016 after the World Championship. Yeah.
Right, I was going to say yours is probably still fresh in your mind, but
yeah,
what sort of you know, how did you build your mindset and your determination for competitions? I think that's always quite interesting to, you know, for the people listening.
Yeah, I took them very seriously, very, very seriously. I remember I used to clean my pads. It sounds weird, but I used to clean my pads before every competition. I used to lay them in the bag. I took real pride and care of every competition that I went to. Yeah, and I desperately wanted to win it. And you know, when I was in there, that was my comfort zone. You know, when I was in the ring, I felt pretty comfortable in there. And you know, success breeds success. You keep winning, and it just breeds more success, and you want to keep winning. And that's basically, you know, where it comes from. You know, I just wanted to win every event. Yeah.
Well, you obviously, from a training perspective, I mean, you know, I saw you in there, and you know, you had flexibility and you had strength and stamina.
Yeah.
Was that something that came easy to you? Something that, you know, wasn't a chore? Because I know for a lot of fighters, they used to go on about me, and the fact that I always loved training. There was nothing better than going in that dojang and, you know, bumping out loads of press ups or sit ups or whatever. So was that an easy side for you, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite blessed, honestly, with my Taekwondo physique, I'd say, with flexibility and stuff like that. And training alongside some older students as well, I think helped a lot, because I was probably one of the younger ones. I was always with the adults. Yeah. So they probably helped in sparring them all the time and trying to keep up with them. And then I become a personal student of Grandmaster Nicholls as well. So I used to like train with him one-on-one every day, which which would have helped. And just the personal drive of wanting to win, you know? Yeah,
definitely. Now, those listening to this, I'm going to have a short pause because I've got to go and take something out of the oven. 1 second, let me just pause this. Right, I'm back again. I don't know whether I'll keep this out or cut it out. We'll see. But we're just talking about training and mindset, and the fact that obviously for yourself, you had a good advantage. What about flexibility? Because I noticed you were really flexible. I'm assuming you still are, but was that a natural thing, or?
I think that was. We've done a lot of leg strength work. I think my flexibility was quite natural, if I'm being honest. I remember being able to do the splits at the age of 8 and 9.
Right. Okay.
But I think one of the most important things is leg strength. You know, it's all right being able to kick that high, but it's keeping that leg up there and kicking that high. You know. I know our classes were not heavily based, but we've done a lot of leg strength work.
Which
I think aided the kicking. You know.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. So, you know, from a competition point of view, I try and tell my students now, although to be honest, I don't teach a lot of competition stuff. Somebody else does that. Phil Whitlock does that for me at the moment.
Oh, Phil, another 2002 World Championship.
Yeah, definitely. So he teaches my sparring class for me. I tend to do the sort of technical, but I try and think of what I try and say to sort of young athletes is just keep that consistency and that persistence. You know, when you lose, analyze. Don't sort of stay on it too long, but analyze, think, right, you know, what could I have done better? Try and do that next time, move on, and so on. And obviously, as you go up through the grades and you become black belt and you're more well known, people know your sort of style. So I don't know, you know, what sort of advice do you give to your young fighters?
The same thing. Just if you do something day in, day out, and keep going, eventually you'll get the rewards from it, and that's basically what I say to my students. You know,
sure.
If something don't work out in a competition, just keep going, keep turning up, keep working, and eventually it will come.
Yeah, definitely. What about those that are not sort of, which is going to be the majority actually, that they're don't reach that level of competition or not competition minded so much?
Yeah.
You know, what sort of things and advice do you give them?
Well, the way I look at my clubs and students is we have club students.
Yes.
And we have competition students.
Yes, yeah.
And we try and cater for both. So basically, the club students, they're the ones that don't really want to do competitions, but obviously they still want to get the fitness, the benefits of martial arts. Sure. They want to achieve black belt. They want to know that they can defend themselves. So we cater for those. And then we do grassroots competitions, which is our interclubs for those that might want to have a little go at competitions, but don't want to take them too seriously. Right. And then we pick the ones that are really good at them competitions who want to excel. And then we move them on to the nationals and the internationals and stuff like that. So we've got a route for everybody, you know? Yeah.
I think the thing is that, you know, and I've said this before on previous podcasts, is Taekwondo is very, martial arts in general are very much more inclusive now. So, you know, you get the people that want to, you know, compete, people who love the technical side, and, you know, people who perhaps do it for the fitness side. In fact, I'm actually starting an over 60s class very soon in my area to try and get some of the older athletes.
Great.
I think so. I think it'd be really, really good. I mean,
because I suppose most older students of that age might feel a bit uncomfortable training with the younger ones kicking around them, you know. So if you've got a class that's specific for that, put the sparring pads on and have a dust up in there. That'd be brilliant.
Yes. Definitely, without a doubt. And just one more really, I suppose, on your competition. I don't know whether it was like me and myself and Mastro. I was gonna ask about whether you had a particular sort of diet regime at the time when you were competing, but myself and Mastro, we used to eat whatever we liked because we trained so hard. It didn't seem to matter.
I was terrible. Yeah. I used to fight under 63 or 64, and because of my height, it was no good for me going up to the under 70s. I was just too short, so I had to fight under 64, 63.
Yeah.
And it was one of them things where I'll be all right. Don't worry, this burger won't hurt. I'll be all right. I'll make it. And I never did. I always have to struggle to make the weight night before in the sauna, black bag on. So I wasn't very good that way, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, not.
And we used to do it all wrong as well, because back then we didn't have the education that we have now about losing weight properly. Now it's a very clear way of doing it. But back then, I remember doing things like I had a sweatsuit on in the sauna rowing, because we used to train at a gym. Obviously, Grandmaster Nicholls used to own a gym. We were carrying the rowing machines into the sauna, and I was rowing them to lose weight. You know, no, diet wasn't my best thing, if I'm being honest.
It was crazy because, and also, I mean, this was luckily enough. I mean, I actually did that thing because I used to fight under 63 kilos at that time. And actual fact, when I got heavier, I just went up to the next weight division and just and I just moved fast. I just thought I didn't want. In fact, I ended up my fighting career as a middleweight. So these guys are really tall, but because of my style of fighting and the movement, I could move out of the way. But occasionally I got caught. But yes, I did see. And I have seen some ridiculous things where people have got on scales and then they've gone and skipped for like 1 hour, and then they've gone for a ridiculously long run, and then the next day you see them in the event and they've got nothing.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only disadvantage of doing it that way.
Yeah, really, really exhausted. But as you say, I think education has moved on, and
I mean, now with the UFC, because most of their fighters drop huge amounts of weight, and they do it, a more healthy way.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. So it's good. And the final question I was going to ask about sort of training and preparing for training. Not many people certainly in my day, they weren't doing a lot of sort of resistance stuff, weights and things like that. I just wonder whether you obviously you got the thing with, as soon as you start to do weight, you're going to maybe put on weight and put on more muscle. But was it something that you toyed with?
Not in the Taekwondo years, fighting, but I did do full contact as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
So I implemented that part of training when I started that, and that helps obviously with the physique and stuff, gaining more power.
Yeah.
But we didn't do a lot of resistance training in Taekwondo.
No.
Training.
No.
It was very much for sparring anyway. It was pad based, lots of sparring, lots of drills.
Yeah.
But the weights did come in when we started to do the full contact.
Yeah, yeah. And how is it something that you would, because it's not for everyone, that's the thing about
No, that's right, yeah.
Full contact.
Yeah.
Why was it something that you decided to do? Was it somebody suggested it, or is it just something, right, I want to
something I always wanted to do from a kid? I wanted to fight in a ring.
Yeah.
Whether it was going to be boxing or kickboxing, I just wanted to get in the ring with a crowd and experience that. Yeah. And once I was successful in the Taekwondo,
sure, I
said to my instructor, look, can we do a bit of full contact? And so he got in contact with someone, and then I had my first fight, and then just I probably had about 20 fights in total.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah. Okay, no, well done too, because it is different. I mean, I did a couple in the ring in the 80s, and it was okay. I just thought to myself, with my sort of style, I was more suited to semi contact really than full contact.
Yeah.
And so
it's funny that you always revert back to what you know. I remember my first fight. Yeah. I'd done all the full contact training. Heavy footed, plowed the shots in. Bell went. I come out, leg up.
Yeah.
That's how you felt comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. You sort of revert back to type.
Yeah, what you know. That's it. Yeah.
I did at the time. I was doing my hit and run style in the ring, and just making sure that
you're used to that. It works for you, right?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. So, well, I keep saying this the last question, but I keep thinking of more because you mentioned about the full contact. Did you have a regular training partner you trained with, and somebody that my training partner, and people find this quite bizarre sometimes, was Master Ogborn, and they go, well, how did that work? And I said, it worked really well because I learned to deal with taller people with a long reach.
Yeah.
And he learned to deal with short, people, faster people who were getting underneath him. Yeah. So actually, it was a great union, both of us. So sure. I don't know if it was anyone particular, or maybe in the class that you thought, right,
Yeah, we handpicked a few students that were, capable of doing the full contact training and the sparring. And then also I went to a local boxing club as well, just to get some boxing work in.
Okay.
In the ring. But there was no partner in particular, but it was like, Steve Watson, he helped me out with, you remember Steve Watson?
Yeah, I remember Steve, yeah.
Yeah, he helped me out with some full contact stuff. Johan De Silva.
Yeah.
Helped me out as well with some full contact.
Yeah. Oh, great. That was great. Yeah, it must have been quite an experience. Some good guys there that you mentioned, which is nice to train with. So yeah, excellent. So moving on from there, are you teaching full time at the moment, or do you do?
So I teach 5 nights a week, Monday to Friday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that well.
Okay, yeah. I teach all the way from 4 years old. I teach the 4-year-olds all the way up to the adults.
Yeah, sure.
We've got 10 schools now, 10 clubs that I've got under my, obviously, Hollingfswoirth Taekwondo.
Yeah. Oh, great.
5 instructors that teach as well their clubs. So yeah, still going, still teaching.
It's good. It's really good to hear. It's nice to know that from where I've come from, where martial arts wasn't particularly what I would call mainstream. That's changed now, and it is, and people can make a decent living out of it as well. And obviously offer, as I said, I think having it more inclusive with 4-year-olds and 54 or 64-year-olds means that we've got a bigger audience as well, which is great.
Yeah.
And excellent. No, good stuff. Well, one on training, unless you want to add anything more, but I was going to ask about yourself as an individual. We've talked a little bit off camera, and I was telling them about I showed you my collection of guitars, and I've mentioned them a number of times. But I was going to say, I know you've got a family now. And
Yep.
how you finding the balance in between family and Taekwondo?
Yeah, it's well, to be fair, the kids are always at Taekwondo with me. So they train in most of my classes, so they're always there anyway. So
Great.
yeah, and then when we come home, they're still doing it. So I don't really get away from it, if I'm being honest.
That's good.
Yeah, but no, it's great. Having them train as well with me, and we can share the passion together. It's an awesome feeling.
Good. And are they the experience I had with my boys? Well, they're men now, middle 30s, my oldest, and the other one's birthday the other day, so they're both in their 30s. But they were really good. My kids were really good in the class, and they were very, very well behaved.
Okay.
And I used to
opposite of mine.
They were fantastic. I used to tell them and say, right, guys, I'm the instructor, so there's certain things I need you to do, and in the class I'm Mr. and not Dad and all that sort of stuff. And they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Even to the extent, I mean, they were genuine, really the best behaved kids in the class, which was nice. Yeah,
I don't envy you.
which was really good. So they did me proud from that point of view. But so with the do you get, obviously you said about sort of training at home and things like that. Do you wait for them to sort of come and ask you, or do you just say, oh no, if you see them you're doing that wrong? Or
yeah, it's one of them. They get the bob out and they'll be banging the bob around, sparring. They even spar each other, doing a little bit of light sparring in the front room. Or even if they're practicing their patterns and I do see something, I'll say, look, you need to make this correction and stuff. But we do it more in like bursts. So it'd be like a 10-minute burst and then that'd be it. And then maybe an hour later, they'll go another 10 minutes,
Right.
They're not structured sessions. They just,
just have a bit of a laugh. Well, that's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's, if you say, right, we're going to do it now and they don't want to do it now, we'll do it when they want to do it, So if I see them training, I'll go out and, lend my hand.
I think that's the best way, making it a bit more organic, so they can, discipline themselves if they want to do it, and if they don't, then they can chill out. And because, once again, my kids got it 24/7 Taekwondo. I was either there or I was training for a competition and things like that. So it was quite a lot for them to deal with, really.
Yeah.
Teaching 6 nights a week at the time. What about stuff that you do when you're not doing Taekwondo? Have you got any hobbies? I mentioned my guitar, but I don't know is there anything that you think, right, I'm going to get away from Taekwondo now and I'm going to
I like my football. So if there's football on telly, I like to watch that.
Sure. Yeah. Who's your team? Who's your team?
I'm Spurs, Tottenham.
Oh wow! We got the North London derby.
And I'm going to miss it. I'm in Ireland this weekend at an IIC actually, so I'm going to miss the game, so I'm going to have to record it.
Well, but unfortunately, my son is a Gooner, my eldest.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I took him to I took him to loads of games over the years, but I remember when he was 18. And I said, right, what do you want for he said, I want to go and see Arsenal, Dad. So we went for this really nice meal before the match, and we saw the game. It was a really nice time. My second son is a Man U fan.
Yeah.
But they're really good. They never have a go at each other. They're really good. Yeah, no, they're very, very good. Very, very
Talking
good.
of atmospheres, I remember going to my first Spurs Arsenal game, North London derby, and I was sat literally the row next to the Arsenal fans.
All right, yeah.
And talk about intimidation. They're looking at you constantly. If you turn around and you catch eyes with one, and they're shouting at you, pointing at you. Like, wow. It's like being back in Argentina.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so sort of football's.
I've just started to learn golf.
Oh wow!
I've always wanted to play golf. I remember trying it when I was younger and I was no good at it. But I thought, right now, I'm not teaching in the day. I'm not doing much in the day. This is the time to try and practice now. And the thought of in the summer being on a golf course in the daytime.
Yeah.
Quite appealing. So I've been learning that golf. Apart from that, it's pretty much all Taekwondo, really.
Yeah. Do you sort of bring your There's sort of a few things that I do. As I said, I love football, and growing up, there was nobody who was going to tell me I wasn't going to be a professional footballer until I realised that I wasn't. Then martial arts was my passion then. But
that caused a few issues competing, because I used to play Sunday league football as well. And I loved playing football. So some weekends there was a clash. I'd try and fit my football match in and then go straight to the competition or straight to whatever it was on the Sunday, you know?
Yes, yeah. It was great, because when I was still competing at the time, actually, and I'd stopped playing football, and Master O was playing in goal for a team. And he said, "Oh, come and play for my team. Come play for us." So I said, "Yeah, go on then," because I really missed it. And that was a really good time, because we used to sort of play football. That was Sunday league football. And really have a good time and a good laugh. And it was actually quite relaxing in a way, even though some of the games were could be a little bit tense, as Sunday league football is. I remember actually playing a game the morning of a full contact fight. I didn't want to miss the game. I had a 10-round fight in the evening, and I played my game on the Sunday morning. Oh wow!
Right there. I thought of it as a warm up. I said warm up.
So you only do that when you're young.
And you know what? It's the best I ever fought.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Maybe because in my mind, I was thinking, I've done this game. I'm warmed up. I don't know what it was, but I fought really well.
Yeah, the human sort of psyche is strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because at times when you think you shouldn't be performing, then you do, and times you think, I'm on top of my game, and you don't.
Yeah.
It really is a strange thing, but there we go. So apart from the usual stuff, going, running your schools, any sort of martial arts ambitions for the future? Anything that you're thinking of doing or would like to do?
Well, I'm the president now of ITF Union England. So I'm looking after what we're doing basically here in England. So that's keeping me really busy at the moment, getting the framework right and the structure right of how we want to do things. It's funny, isn't it? I mean, I was thinking before the podcast about, you start off as a young student, and then you turn into fighter, then you turn into instructor, then you turn into president of a group. It's quite a weird evolution,
Well, it is, and I often joke when students ask me, and I say, well, I'm an 8th degree admin master now. That's what I am. That's what it feels.
Your mindset changes, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's
your
what it feels
mindset as a fighter is not the same now as it is. You look at things on the other side now.
Yeah. And that focus, when you're a fighter, I remember training and thinking about, when I was a black belt, thinking about the people that I was going to fight, and I had them in my mind all the time, and how I was going to, block and counter their sidekick, and how I was going to move, and none of that now. I don't think of any of that. I'm thinking, right, okay, I need to get this list of black belts out. We got a tournament coming up. I need to get the information out, and it's completely different. The mindset.
But the good thing is you can zone in on. I'm not a very good multitasker. I like to do one thing and do it well. So fighting, that was great, because you had a fight, you zone in on it, and you just train for that. Whereas this job, that now there's so many different things that need doing. That mindset of zoning in on one thing is sometimes not the best, because you need to get more things done.
Yes, definitely.
But whatever we do, we do it well. Without a doubt. Well, no, I completely agree. It's and I've often, what I said before about my my trophies and whatever, it always people say, well, why did you do that? I said, well, I'm actually a really different person now from what it was as, and I don't actually need those. So, as a young lad, and then as a middle-aged guy with young children, and then now I'm in a completely different place, and my mentality is very, very different. And so, you just, you change, and you maybe become more wise, didn't you? And more humble.
Think in a different way. But I want to say thanks very much. We're sort of coming to the end of the time. I want to say thanks very much for taking the time and giving us an overview of you. I hope the people listening will take a lot from this. And from the fact that you started at age 4, you're still going, you're still passionate about what you do in a different way as an instructor now, and looking after people. And I don't know if you were to say, as an instructor now, seeing what you've been through, what do you think would be the main thing, apart from competition side, that you can offer the kids, really?
Yeah.
What would you say it was? What would you say that had benefited you the most that you could offer them?
Structure, routine. I think that's important for a lot of things. I knew the routine of the week. I had training on this night. Even when you go into the class, right, I need to stand in grade order. Yeah. I think structure and routine has really benefited me the most, more than anything. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. And any of the youngsters listening to this, I've seen Lee Hollingsworth fight, and he's certainly a fantastic fighter. He was a great competitor in patents and sparring. So, well done to you. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done to you. So, I just want to say thank you, really. If you're going to hang on after we finished, once I say goodbye to the people listening here, I want to say thank you very much to Lee Hollingsworth for taking the time to share his thoughts with the Living Martial Arts podcast. I'll be back with you very, very soon, hopefully with another guest and some more martial arts talk. Thank you very much, and thank you, Lee. No problem. Thank you, guys.